Hello, you guys. Susan here, wanting to share something with you. I've been reading about this passage in the Bible about Jesus feeding 4,000 people, and this is in Matthew 15:29 through 39, and then another one where he feeds 5,000 people. And I just thought that was, really amazing, how he can do that. But the only explanation is that he was feeding them Leviathan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly, but Leviathan. That's the only thing that I can think of, because in the book of Ezekiel it says that God is going to put hooks in the jaws and pull them out of the water. But God is the one who made Leviathan. So, and then Jesus is able to feed 5,000 people. 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. And then in another passage in the Bible, he feeds 4,000 people with 7 loaves of bread and some fish. So, of course, that's not possible if you're just going to go one-on-one, but the only logical explanation is that God pulled Leviathan out and Jesus was able to feed the multitude with it. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not. But I just thought that, that was interesting. That, he was able to feed all these people. And he told his disciples, don't doubt me. Just trust me. So, the only logical explanation I can think of is that Jesus did it with Leviathan. And I was just watching, our presidents that travel to and from the different countries, from the wealthy countries, the first world countries. And I was just watching at how men interact so differently than women, right? Because in certain countries, women are supposed to they're not supposed to be involved in politics at all because they're women, and so that's the way they are in that culture, and I respect that. But I also, I am Latin American. I was born in Latin America. I, served in the military here. The way women were young ladies when I joined the military, it could be wild. It could be wild during the early 90s or mid 90s, and it's still wild, but I feel like I was put in that, targeted. And so everybody and their brother can look at me and have their own opinion based on the books they've read, and based on how they were raised. For example, I was working at P.F. Chang's, and I remember the very last day I worked there, or the day before my last day, I visited with my son Alexander. And it was a very this whole situation is degrading because I feel that people want to make a puppet out of me. They want to make me feel like, hey, we're in control of you. You're our puppet. Even though I'm not a politician, they're not paying me. They're not paying me to entertain them. You know, I just feel like this community is just very... You have people all the way up to the left, all the way to the right. You've got a lot of dysfunctionality, a lot. I feel like I've gone through Jericho. Like I'm in Jericho. And I've been just like emptied out. My son taken away from me, being mocked. The day before my last day of work, my coworker said to me, you know, I hope you have fun with your son. And I'm just thinking, I don't have fun at these meetings. The whole thing is degrading. You know, I'm hearing this from somebody who doesn't have their own children. You know? And so I showed up, and the caseworker had another lady there that I don't know, I've never met, and this is how they do each other. They'll be like, oh, you know, this is so-and-so, they're training. So I was like outraged. You know, just like when Jesus took the cords and made a whip out of it, I was just outraged. Like, what? You know, like, no. You know? So I went to work the next morning, and I felt like everything was weird. And 2 people that very day said, I'm going back to Georgia. Like, as if they were here for something, and then they were disappointed of my interaction with my son. That is an honest to goodness how I feel. Now, I had 2 tables that day. My very first table only tipped me $1. And I just made a comment to one of my managers, and I thought that was weird that there were 2 managers there that day. So there was already something going on. You know, like this was planned. Because there's usually only one manager, and both of them were there. One of them was busy in the kitchen, and every time you ask, you know, can I please talk to you? It's like, oh, I'm busy, call me back later. I'm super busy right now. I'm just tied up. And so anyway, I just made a comment, not to the operating manager, but to the other manager. I just said, I just got tipped $1. And I literally had this tone of voice. Like it was neither here nor here. It was just like, I just got $1 tip. You know, and he's like, well, that must be that, you know, it must be your service, right? And then he was making a bigger deal than it was. And I already knew how this was going to go. And so he kind of walked over and involved the other manager. They kind of both met in the middle. And it was like, oh yeah, you know, like if the same thing with Tanner's Pecan. When I ended up having to, you know, I didn't quit. They let me go because they said that the computers were down. Now, I remember before the computers went down at Tanner's Pecan, my coworker told me, the Cuban coworker, who told me her husband wanted her to stay at home. That her husband wanted her to stay at home, and the day that she quit was the days that the computer went bad. That's the day that she quit, and that they couldn't figure out if it had happened. When they looked back, it happened like at 7:00 p.m. And we left at 5. So, you know, I was like, I don't know. This is weird. But I remember my coworker telling me, well, my husband wants me to stay at home and take care of my son. I feel like I'm being exploited here at work. And I never talked about this with the owners because that's none of my business. It is none of my business to be telling her business to the owners. If she felt exploited, then that's something that she needed to tell them directly. So basically, the day that she quit on the phone apparently, and my boss, the the owner, she was like, "Did you know such and such was going to quit?" And I said, "She told me she was going to quit like in December, but I didn't know she was going to quit like today." And she's like, "Well, you should have told me." And I said, "Well, I don't want to be put in the middle of this because this is not fair to me. You know, she didn't tell me she was going to quit today. She was talking about it like in December." And this was like in July. Not even, yeah, like either late June or the beginning of July. Like 2 months after I moved here. So I had no other way of maintaining my apartment. I had to sell something. You know, and to me, I believe that this was done so I would depend on somebody, you know, for like a sugar daddy, so that they could prostitute me. I really, honest to goodness, I feel this way. I feel like there is what do you call it? Oppression of women. And I feel like I may as well just be in the Middle East, because at least, you know, these women, they live, you know, they're wealthy, they stay home. You know what I mean? They all have somebody driving them around, and they all have their phones, their husbands pay for everything. I just may as well. I wouldn't mind. But I was born in Panama City, Panama, and as far as I'm concerned, my country has never had any animosity with the United States. I was brought here as a teenager. I was brought here by a military man, military officer, who ended up retiring from the Army and working directly for the Pentagon. You would think that my stepfather would have already gotten me out of the situation a long time ago. This is ridiculous. What do you expect me to do? So anyway, my coworker had told me that she was feeling exploited, but I was not going to tell my boss that, because that's none of my business. So it's like I was put in the middle. And I feel like that whole thing was an act. Like it was win for my coworker and win for the owner. Because I remember vividly my coworker who also told me that there was a child that wasn't behaving, and that the child was told that he was going to be taken away so that he would behave, and that, you know, they were going to teach him a lesson or something like that. And I knew she was implying. And what is happening with Alexander has been horrific. You people are freaking wicked. Did I say freaking? Okay. Freaky! So I was also told that, you know, my coworker was like, "Well, these people really can't afford to pay you. You know, they're not doing very well. So how do you basically telling me, okay, that the owners didn't have enough money to pay me much longer before the computers broke down." And I'm just like, well, then why was I invited here to work? And then I started thinking, if I hadn't broken my arm, then I would have had to do what my coworker was doing, which was labeling the bottles and, you know, doing the other stuff. And I wouldn't have minded, you know, but it's almost like I feel like they took my son away from me Like, these things are paid and orchestrated. Like, you have to pay, you have to earn your right to be able to stay home. Like, well, let somebody else go to work. So her kid's with DHR, so she's going to have no choice but to work day and night or nights and days or whatever. Okay, so back to P.F. Chang's. The last day I worked, I just said, these people just tipped me $1. And I was just kind of like, because I know I provided really good service. It wasn't like, hey, look at me, I'm going to flip for you. No, it was just good service. And these people were very quiet. They were like looking down. There's a lot of things going on that people get paid to go to a restaurant, to like check the food out, like, and to do all kinds of business deals going on, all kinds of messages that people get, all kinds of stuff. But as far as I'm concerned, I've never gotten a negative review for my service. I'm not the best server in the world. I know that for a fact. Like, I can't possibly remember all of the drinks, that they come up with every so often. I can't. I'm 46 years old. I'm trying as best I can. Because, if you're not humble, then you're not humble enough. Like, if I wear jewelry, then I'm not humble. No? So what is the point of jewelry? Who makes the jewelry? How come I see all these ladies from Ladies Tea? They wear jewelry. They're very rich ladies. They stay at home. They don't have to work for a living. No, they all stay at home and they brag about, certain things. They do. One of the ladies from Ladies Tea was saying that she was right down perfect. But I knew she was being sarcastic. But whatever. I mean, how do you expect me? If everybody's being sarcastic in this community, how do you expect me? I don't function that way. So anyway, I knew something was up when two of my coworkers that day said, "Oh, we're going back to Georgia." And when the two managers were there together, and they were like, "Well, that must be that your service isn't very good, right?" And it's like, I'm either A, being tested to see if I can stand up, because my other coworker, who said, "I'm gonna F you up, don't get on my face like that," she's still working there. I was told by my other coworker who's still working there that that he didn't trust, the fund when they collect money for family emergencies, that he didn't trust where that money was going. I didn't ever think anything about it. I donated a couple times, and I'm just like, well, at least I'm doing what I can, and whether it's used for that or not, that's at least my conscience is clean, But I seriously doubt, but how are you going to prove that? But it's like I'm being put in the middle, because it's like, it's like they tell me something and it's like, what? Do they want to mess with my head? See, this stuff is of the devil. It's of the devil. So it makes you not want to work there, right? Because you're like wondering. So, I told my boss, I said, "Look, I'm going to put in my 2 weeks notice, but I want to know, like, if I change my mind between now and 2 weeks, can I come back?" He said yes. And he wasn't available. So after the 2 weeks, he's like, "Well, you're not working here anymore. You're not part of the family anymore." So I was like, okay. So do you see, people, And now I'm being sued because I can't pay this apartment. And the day that I got like paperwork is like that very same day another attorney sent me paperwork like, oh, we found out that you're being sued, and here's your if you want to file bankruptcy. I'm just like, I don't know what to believe. My mind does not function this way. I'm like from another, I don't know where I'm from. I don't know where I'm from, but if I'm special needs, then I'm special needs. Then don't take advantage of my disability. Because I just don't function that way. Like I am, like I only like beautiful things in my home. I don't like anything scary. Like I don't even like Halloween, And I'll celebrate Halloween for my child, but I don't like bloody stuff, and guts and scary stuff, spooky stuff, skulls and that kind of stuff. Well, no, I mean, my son likes skulls. We had a little game. We used to hide the skulls, but I mean, oh, whatever. What am I trying to say? It's like, I don't know. I don't function that way. So, anyway, I was thinking when I was working at Tanner's Pecan, my coworker was on the phone with her friend, who's an acquaintance of mine, and she was staying at home. And, they were like, oh, she's painting furniture. And I'm just like, so when I was at home painting furniture, and when I was in my home taking care of my son, were people like in there invading my privacy and being jealous of what I had? Of my lifestyle? And they were putting their evil eye, and that's why there was all this tension. It was so thick. You could feel the tension. And Andy was like, I don't want to hear about it, Susan. I don't want to hear about it. Nope, I don't want to hear about it. And I'm just like, what is the point of you inviting me to this house? And Miss Diana was like, well, why would you believe, if somebody invites you to the home, why would you believe that? And I'm thinking, we were common law marriage. Why wouldn't I believe it? We went home shopping together. Why wouldn't I believe it? And then I have this other gentleman who's telling me that, well, now that I know how it feels to not be able to be with my son because he's not able to be with his children in another country. I'm like, I'm not here to suffer your everybody's pain because you're not suffering mine. I cannot suffer everybody's pain. I can and I won't. Jesus was already crucified and you obviously don't care because you're still doing whatever the heck you want. And you're mocking Jesus who shed blood for you. So anyway, when I was working at P.F. Chang's, I was asked to sign a couple times some documentation. One time it was like for something on the computer. They wanted me to like sign something on the computer. I'm just like, whatever. I mean, anybody else could just do that, right? Like when I got this apartment, the lady who does the leasing downstairs, Erin, she was like, I was at work at the hotel at the time, and she's like, oh, Miss Susan, I can take care of it for you. I can sign it for you on the computer electronically. I said, you can do that? She's like, yeah. And I was like, well, is there anything that I need to know that's like, questionable other than just a regular leasing agreement? She's like, no. I said, okay, I trust you, Miss Erin. So she signed it for me, because I couldn't be in two places at once because I can't. So when I was at P.F. Chang's, I signed something on the computer, and I was like, I don't even know what the heck, because it was like scroll, 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 scroll. You don't have time to read everything because you're being told, look, come on, we just need to look at this real quick, and I don't even remember. Then there was another time I had to sign a paperwork for for one of the managers, not the operating manager, but one of the managers and another manager, because they said that I didn't know about the specials. Like, it was like a write-up. And I was like, what? It was like, oh yeah, you're supposed to know about the specials. So they had me sign paperwork for that, and I'm just like, it was like a 2-page. I signed the back, and it's like the front could say whatever. You know, people, I don't know what to tell you. You know, it's like, this is why when these politicians meet, they have everybody and their brother there. Like, they're lawyers, they're translators, they're advisors. And what about me? What about me? All by myself? You're taking advantage of my disability. I miss wearing my apron and going to work and having just enough money to pay my bills. I do. My little toe was hurting, but, you know, I'm trying. I'm 46 years old. I wanted to have my master menu like in my 20s. Had I had Facebook back then, God knows. You know, but I need my son Alexander. You guys don't even know the pain. You know, it's like if you're in a foreign country and you had to leave your kids behind, well, then that's different. It's not that you're being oppressed by a government that goes to fight for the freedom of the American people. And I'm not the enemy. No. I came here legally. And I'm confused with humanity because humanity is confusing. I don't speak your language. I don't. It's like I am the human race, but I'm not from here. I don't think I am. I don't. I wish I could just have wings to fly. Yes. And I would take my kids with me. Yes, fly up, you know, to heaven. But heaven's coming down to us. Yes, thank God for God. Yes, thank God. Because I am just like, you know, it's like I like serving tables, and I'm not going to be the best server because I'm 46 years old. What do you expect? I haven't been doing this my whole life. You know? I am dealing with DHR BS. And it's like if I were in Saudi Arabia, everything would be clean and I wouldn't have to worry about driving. No, because somebody could just drive me to and from. It's like, oh, thank you. You know, and I wouldn't have to worry about being on time because I'm always like, I'm either way too early, I'm years early, or I'm always late. Yes. See, corporate stuff. I don't like corporate. So if I were in Saudi Arabia, well, I mean, I can be because I'm 46 years old. I'm too late to get married. You see? But then I wouldn't want to be married. I don't think I would want to be married because they wouldn't like me because I'm too foreign. They only marry their own people, and they would find me disrespectful. And I don't mean to be disrespectful. I read a long time ago from the Quran, you know, the Victory Surah. But it's like, I can't even, it's like, what? Okay, well, what? Isn't that just like the book of Revelation? Yes. And then, you know, if you've got everybody and their brother in your house looking at you, whether they're from, you know, Jewish community or Christian community or Muslim community or atheist community or a gay community or whatever community, and then I'm going to be judged, you know, even if I just stand and not move because I'm not moving. And if I fly, then it's like, oh, she's the devil. Look, she's got powers. But then if I stay, then I'm an idiot. And if I go to the left, the people on the right say, look, she's wrong. And if I go to the right, then it's like, no, she's wrong. I'm not getting paid for this! I don't know. I don't know what to think about you people. All I know is that my Joseph tree spoke to me. That's all I know. Okay? But I saw President Putin and the Prince of Saudi Arabia doing business. And the way they do business, it's not like they have coffee on the table and they have, like Russian style coffee, and they don't have like that banquet like I was envisioning like politicians doing. Yes. No. It's all, the camera's going click, 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 click. What is the point of all this journalism of everybody taking pictures like this? How long are those pictures going to be up for? And how much are you getting paid for those pictures? And why do you have to take so many? And then what are you going to do with all those pictures? You're going to have them up for a minute, and then you're going to put them down because you're going to go on to something else, and something else, and something else, and something else. You see, I want to hear what they're saying, but it's none of my business because I'm not from this planet. No, I must be from another planet. Because nowadays, planet Mars is more important to you. Yes. I want to know. How about all the people in Yemen? Have you seen? I don't understand. What is the point of money? No. I don't understand. How are these people going to live like that? What is the point of our intelligence and our money? I don't want to be here, but I have no choice. Ah! I am so sad. I am so sad because I don't have wings to fly. No, I can't even afford to go skydiving for my therapy, my oxygen therapy, because it's too stuffy down here. I don't like this level. No, I don't. Ah. When I came in here, I decorated my apartment just so for my son and I. And Jacob is in another wavelength because he's having a baby, and Jacob is like grown, and now they're doing this to me again to traumatize me. Oh, all this money being spent on traumatizing women and children. If I were from Saudi Arabia, I would be happy because I would be, comfortable at home, and my husband can just provide for me and everything. That whole town is clean and beautiful water, all clean. And if I needed a ride to the store, I wouldn't have to worry about being late to work. I could just get up and get all prettied up. I wouldn't have to worry about showing my legs. Because, sometimes I don't like to shave. I don't like to shave sometimes. I don't like to shave. I wouldn't have to worry about it. I wouldn't have to worry about my melasma because I would be covered up, and just my eyes. I would just look so beautiful with my eyes. Yes, I would be happy. But then I'm 46 years old. I can't, get married because I wasn't born there. I was born over here in the West. In Latin America! What am I supposed to do with my Christianity? I am not... It's funny! It's funny and it's sad! What am I supposed to do with my Christianity because I'm not Christian enough for you? No! It's like, you didn't grow up reading the Bible. What am I supposed to do? I wish I
sugar daddy to go skydiving because I don't like to be attached to anybody. I like to go all by myself. Yes. So anyway, I envisioned y'all going over there to the Pacific Ocean to kill, all that trash that you've created through the years from neglect and ignorance and laziness, because I don't like trash. I recycle. And I don't understand how we can have this kind of trash going on with all the education, all this education, all these programs for educating the people, and how come we have all this opiate crisis and all this youth incarcerated? My son is incarcerated. Oh. I'm not from here. I'm not from here. No. I am traumatized by this world. Oh. So anyway, I saw President Putin, and he's so handsome. I really think he's handsome. I told Andy that he was very handsome. And I saw him having coffee with President Obama, with his boot. I just thought that was so cool. We need to do that. We need to have coffee. Ah! And we need to have food at the table. And we need to stop being so stiff. And we need to stop taking all these pictures every 5 seconds. What's the point? They're just going to be there for a minute and then you're going to go on to something else. All this waste of time. Why do we need 10,000 reporters? We need more people helping people over there in Yemen. Yes, you have the money. You have the money. Yes. I want to know, why can't I just work for the United Nations? Why? Oh, because I cry. Or because I'm ignorant, or I'm special needs, or whatever. But I want to know who hears these people. You hear them. Yes, you do. You hear these people. You hear them crying. And you see the ruins over there. They need help. They need help. Yes, they do. And I need my son. So I'm not unbalanced. Because you expect me to be balanced and be happy and be functioning on medication because you've taken from me and now I'm supposed to function because you're going to sell me a pill. No, I am not. I get medication from my God. He says, go to sleep, just go to sleep. So I go to sleep when I'm sad, yes. And when I'm frustrated and I put my makeup on, yes, that's my medicine, painting. I told my son, I said, son, when you're sad or when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're mad, when you're confused, when you're frustrated, when you're angry, and when you're happy again, draw and paint. Yes, that's right. That's a good outlet. We need to get those kids out of jail and get them painting and... yes! Those people in jail that, they shouldn't be there because they were like, what, dealing marijuana? And then who grows the marijuana? And who sells the marijuana to those people? Yeah. Who does that? Is marijuana illegal? Oh, well, whatever. It doesn't matter. What about the people that are sitting there overcrowding our jails? Can they go to Yemen? Yes, they can go over there and help them rebuild. Yes, as long as they don't get killed. No, we need rich people, like, the Prince of Saudi Arabia. He's so rich. Yes. And I'm sorry that I don't have the etiquette, of the Eastern people. I just don't. I don't want to be insulting anybody, but President Putin, can you like get together and instead of exchanging expensive gifts, like give to the poor, yes, give to the poor. Because then it's like, oh, thank you, yes, thank you so much for your gift, for your generosity. Those people are going to appreciate it. Because President Putin, he has a lot of Fabergé eggs and gold and diamonds in his house. He's rich. He's he doesn't have time to be playing with sitting down looking at stuff. He's busy traveling. We need to get together and eat together on the table of transparency and truth and put our books together. Yes. And we need to put our books together that talk about God and what God wants us to do. Because I don't know what to do. I don't know. Do I know what to do? No, I don't know what to do. All I know is it's sad. So I cry when I'm sad. Yes. And I laugh when I'm happy. And some things are just unbearable, but I can't go flying right now. So this is my therapy that was recommended, because I was accused of being suicidal. Yes, I was accused of being suicidal. But I'm not suicidal, no. But I'm willing to die. Yes, for the freedom of my people. Yes. And if I'm special needs, then I'm special needs. Then don't judge me like a regular person because I'm special. I have a disability. Yes. Or 2 or 3. Or God knows how many disabilities I have. I just want you to, go to Yemen and go travel the world together, humbly. And just, give to those who need. We already know that you have money. You're wealthy because you know how to manage money. Because you are smart. You are very intelligent. And you know how to give, so... just look around. I feel better now. Thank you for listening. Yes.